Hello, Lloyd Ruhl, aka MegaBlitzz. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the top 10 cards that I'm personally most excited for, with Temporal Forces release and rotation being right around the corner. But I want to hear your guys' opinions too. So let me know down in the comments what cards you're most excited for, what deck you're thinking about playing after rotation. So let's jump right in to that 10th spot. Already coming into our 10th spot here, we have Eerie. Look at your opponent's hand, choose 2 item cards you find there, and discard them. Now, Eerie originally wasn't going to be in the 10th spot. It was going to be more of an honorable mention card because it's kind of like a 1 of or a 2 of in a lot of decks. However, I started thinking, Eerie is able to discard ace specs, with a lot of them being items. Prime Catcher and Master Ball and many more. So could you imagine you have Prime Catcher in your hand, your opponent plays Eerie, you discard Prime Catcher from their hand, the 1 copy they're allowed to have in their deck feels pretty good. But Eerie's also really good into Lost Box and Charizard decks, discarding Super Rods, Rare Candies, and Mirage Gates and Switch effects. So I'm really excited to see how much of this card is going to be in the format. Moving into our 9th spot here, we got Emergency Board. The retreat cost of the Pokemon this card's attached to is going to be 1 less. If that Pokemon has 30 HP or less remaining, it has no retreat cost. So a lot of Lost Box decks are going to play this card because you're able to retreat for free out of Come Phase. And I'm really pumped for that because I've been playing tons of Lost Box recently, Lost Sablezard and Lost Tina, and sometimes it feels kind of bad to have to jet energy up a Comfey and then retreat out of that into something else. So I'm really excited to be able to do it for free with this Emergency Board. Going into Gouging Fire EX at our 8th spot here. For its second attack being the more relevant one, Blaze Blitz for 260 damage. This Pokemon can't use Blaze Blitz again until it leaves the active spot, but that's pretty easy to pull off with all the switch effects we have in the format. Now, 260, you're 20 damage short from Giratina's, Lugia's, and Arceus. But you pair this with the Pokemon Go Moltres, have 2 of those on your bench, you're at 280. Put a Maximum Belt on, you're at 330, so you're KOing Charizards. And you're able to power this up with Magma Basin and Professor Zeta's Vitality because it's an ancient Pokemon. I'm really excited to see if Gouging Fire EX is going to be its own deck, or if there's going to be more of like a Firebox deck with Gouging Fire, Entei, or something of that nature that's cooked up. So I'm super pumped for this one. Moving to our 7th spot here, we got Roaring Moon. With this attack, Vengeful Feathers for 2 Dark Energy, 70+. This attack does 10 more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. So the longer the game goes on, the more this scales with that, because the more ancient cards you'll have in your discard pile, the more damage this thing does. Having 140 HP on a single prize attacker is really good. You're able to use Professor Zeta's Vitality to put energies onto it, so that's also having an ancient card in your discard pile is going to be really good. I'm really excited to see if Ancient Box is a real deck, or if it's kind of more like United Wings, where it's a bit more of a meme. So I'm really excited to see what people cook up with this card. Moving into our 6th spot here, we got Mist Energy. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 1 colorless energy, prevent all effects of attacks used to your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So things like Lost Mine, Star Requiem from Giratina, and Frenzy Gouging from Roaring Moon are all effects of an attack, and that will neutralize all those effects. So I'm really excited to see how relevant this card's going to be. We already know it's going to get played in Lugia, but we'll get more into Lugia a little bit later. I think Arceus or even Snorlax Stall might end up playing 1 or 2 copies of this card as well to kind of just slow down some of the decks we're going to have in our format. So I'm pretty pumped for this one. Moving into our 5th spot here, we got Great Tusk. And its attack Land Collapse is pretty cool. For 2 energy, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If you played an Ancient Supporter card from your hand during this turn, discard 3 more cards in this way. So a total of 4 cards as long as you play an Ancient Supporter. It's an ancient Pokemon, so Professor Zeta's Vitality will put energies onto it. There's Explorer's Guidance as well. So being able to mill 4 cards is pretty easy to do consistently. 140 HP on a basic Pokemon, as we had talked about on Roaring Moon, is really good. You're out of Greninja range and Cramorant and Lost Mine from Sableye. But this means there's potential for a competitive mill deck. And I've always liked the idea of mill, and I've always played some sort of fun, goofy meme mill deck like Wugtrio currently. I've played the Durant mill deck before. So I'm really excited to see if this mill deck is going to be competitive or not. I think it'd be fun to play. Moving into our 4th spot here, we got Buddy Buddy Poffin. Now, Buddy Buddy Poffin is kind of like a budget replacement for Battle VIP Pass, being able to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less and put them onto your bench. You can do that at any point during the game, which I think is something that's really important. Charizard is going to love this card, being able to find your Bidoofs if you're playing the Bibarel version, your Charmanders, or your Pidgeys if you're playing the Pidgeot version. Now, a lot of other decks are going to play this card as well, being able to, with Chien-Pao, find Frigibaxes and Bidoofs, or things of that nature. Lost Box is going to play this card, being able to find Comfeys as well, but some other decks might not. Things like Snorlax Stall isn't going to play Buddy Buddy Poffin because they can't find anything out of it. So I'm really excited for this card, but I'm also not so excited because we've been kind of spoiled with Battle VIP Pass. So moving into our third spot here, we got Iron Leaves EX. With this ability, once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may switch it with your active. If you do, you may move any energy from other Pokemon to this Pokemon any way you like. So being able to put this Pokemon on your bench, put it up in the active spot, move 3 energies onto it, 180 damage. If you're playing against Charizard, you're hitting it for 360, so that's really good. Now, I don't know if Iron Leaves EX is going to be like its own deck with like maybe some other grass type attackers like Torterra or something, or if it's going to be more of a tech option. I think it's going to be more of a tech option personally. Something we're going to see in Arctina, which we've already seen, or even Lost Tina as well, is going to be pretty cool. I think Iron Leaves has a lot of potential as a tech option because Charizard is going to be so relevant post-rotation, with Charizard Bibarel and Charizard Pidgeot taking up about 30 to 40% of the meta probably. Moving into our second spot here, we got Cinccino, with second attack being, I don't remember the name of it, but 70 damage for each energy card attached to this Pokemon. So if you put 4 energy cards onto this Cinccino, you're at 280. You put a couple more on, you're at 330, so you're KOing Charizards pretty easily. On a single prize attacker, sure, it's only got 110 HP, so you definitely can get KO'd by Cramorant, but being able to just KO Giratinas, other Lugias, Arceus, and Charizards just by putting a couple energy onto this Cinccino is kind of insane. And this card will solely revive Lugia, and I'm super pumped for it, with Lugia being the mascot of the channel and one of my favorite Pokemon overall. So I'm super pumped to be able to finally play Lugia again and have it be a real contender in the meta. Moving into our honorable mentions here, we got Torterra EX, with this first attack being Forest March. 30 times, this attack does 30 damage for each of your grass Pokemon in play, so it is capped, but its second attack for 3 energy, Jungle Hammer, 150 damage, heal 50 damage from this Pokemon. So it has 340 hit points, so it's already really beefy. And then you're able to heal 50 damage with that Jungle Hammer attack. This thing is going to be an absolute tank. I think we are going to see some sort of Torterra EX like rogue deck with like Iron Leaves and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be meta breaking because Torterra doesn't quite do enough damage unless you're playing against like Charizard decks. And then we also got Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. Search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle the rest of your deck, put those 2 cards on the top of your deck in any order. So it'd be really cool if you're able to play this card, find 2 cards, put them on top of your deck, and then end your turn with an instant charge from Rotom, draw those 2 cards and an extra one along the way. The reason this is an honorable mention and not in the top 10 is because there's a lot of hand disruption in the format, things like Iono, Judge, and even Roxanne. It is possible that if you do end up getting those 2 cards into your hand and they don't play Iono, you're going to be able to really go far in the game and potentially even put you ahead. But if they play Iono, then it feels kind of bad because, well, those 2 cards you just searched for and then drew are going to go right to the bottom. So for that reason, it had to go in the honorable mentions, but I still think this card has a lot of potential. And then our other honorable mention card here, we got Miraidon, with its first attack being probably my favorite one, Peak Acceleration for 40 damage for 1 colorless energy. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards and attach them to your future Pokemon in any way you like. We've already seen there's a Future Box deck that plays 4 Iron Hands EX, and this is used to accelerate a lot of the energies to that Iron Hands. So being able to put a bunch of energies onto Iron Hands, pair that with Electric Generator, we're able to amp very much all kinds of stuff in that deck. So I'm super excited just if there's going to be like a Future Box type deck that's going to be out and how relevant it's going to be. I'll probably at least test something of the sorts. Moving into our number 1 spot here, we we got Ace Spec cards. These are probably my 3 favorite Ace Specs. Master Ball being able to search out for any Pokemon. Maximum Belt being able to do 50 more damage to Pokemon EX. And then Prime Catcher working almost the exact same as Guzma, being able to put up something into their active spot on your opponent's side and then switch something on your side as well. I think is really powerful. But overall, I'm just excited for Ace Specs in general. I never really got to play with Ace Specs when they were a thing originally, so this will be my first time playing with any Ace Specs, and I'm super pumped for it. Alrighty guys, let's jump right in to that outro. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments below what cards you guys are most excited for, what decks you're thinking of me playing after rotation. I'm looking more towards Lugia and Lost Tina personally, but I want to hear your guys' opinions also. If you guys enjoying the content that I've been making so far here on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!